Imagine this. Every 2 weeks, like clockwork, you open your banking app, see your paycheck has arrived, and feel that brief moment of relief. And before you can even spend a ruble on yourself, you're already sending 15, 30, or even 50,000 rubles to your credit card. Then there's the student loan payment, then the car payment. And the feeling is always the same. You've worked 2 full weeks and the month isn't even over, and your paycheck already belongs to someone else. And it's not you. It's your creditors. You're literally working to enrich the bank. You hear all the talk about index funds, investment accounts, and early retirement, and you think, that's not for me. I need to get out of debt first, and then we'll see. But here's what changes everything. What if those same 30,000, 50,000 you pay the bank every month are the very fuel you need to build your capital? The problem isn't that you have nothing to invest in. The problem is that your ability to invest is being held hostage. And today, step by step, I'll show you how to free it. Before I begin, my name is Igor. I have a degree in business strategy, and for the past 5 years, I've devoted myself to one question. How do people who actually have money actually manage it? And over these 5 years, observing those who have built real wealth, I've realized something almost no one talks about. The rich aren't those who earn more. They're those who've learned to channel their money where it matters. And today, I'll show you how to do the same. To make things as clear as possible, let's look at the stories of 3 people in the same situation: Maxim, Dmitry, and Artem. All 32 years old, with the same income, each carrying a burden of debt across credit cards, student loans, and a car loan. One starting point, 3 different decisions, 3 completely different futures. If you want to understand why one of them will be a millionaire years from now, while the other 2 will still be paying the bank at 60, subscribe, because useful content is published here every day. But before we get to the steps, we need to get one thing straight. Debt isn't a financial pitfall. Debt is a misused springboard. Let me explain. When you're in debt, compound interest works against you. Every month, that 20 to 25% interest on your credit card, that interest on your car loan, that interest on your student loans, all of it adds up to what you owe. It's called reverse leverage. You're paying the bank so that the bank, using your discipline, can grow its own wealth. But here's what almost no one notices. If you're already capable of sending a substantial sum toward debt repayment every month without fail, you already have the most valuable and difficult skill in personal finance. People who invest successfully aren't some special lucky few. They're people who've learned to send money to the same place every month without fail. You already have this skill. You're just using it to enrich the bank, not yourself. And the good news is, the day you pay off this debt, you won't have to learn anything new. You'll just have to turn the river around. Step 1. Stop the bleeding. Before thinking about investing, you need to know exactly what you're up against. And this is where 90% of people fail. They know they have debt, but they don't know exactly how much, what the interest rate is, or how much it's actually costing them each month. Open a spreadsheet or take a notepad and write down each debt with 3 parameters: balance, interest rate, minimum payment. Example: credit card. Conditional balance of 350,000, interest rate of 24%, minimum payment of 10,000. Education loan. Balance 1.5 million, rate 6.5%, payment 17,000. Car loan. Balance 1 million, rate 8%, payment 28,000. Total debt is 2.85 million. Total minimum payment is 55,000 per month. Once the map is ready, there are 2 options. The snowball method involves paying off the smallest debt first, regardless of the interest rate, because paying off the entire debt gives a psychological boost to stick with the plan. The avalanche method involves paying off the debt with the highest interest rate first, because mathematically, this saves more money. Which one do I personally use? Avalanche, because every percentage point of overpayment eats away at your future. But if you need a quick emotional boost to stay on track, snowball is better. Pick one. The worst method is no method at all. Step 2. Create a financial cushion. Before attacking the debt fully, you need to put aside $30,000 to $50,000 in a separate account that no one touches, not even you. Why this amount and not more? Because later we'll build a full-fledged reserve. Right now, debt is our biggest enemy, and we need a minimum cushion to avoid resorting to a credit card at life's first surprise. And life is bound to throw up surprises. A flat tire, a broken refrigerator. The doctor's bill, instead of the expected pennies, is a hefty sum. If you have no cushion, what do? You take out your card, and all your progress disappears overnight. I speak from experience. A few years ago, in the middle of paying off a debt, everything was going great, and then suddenly the transmission in my car broke. A large sum. There was no cushion. I paid with my card, and it took 8 extra months to get back to where I was before. Keep this money in an interest-bearing deposit. You can find rates of around a few % per annum these days. The goal isn't to make money on this. The goal is to avoid losing it. This cushion is what separates someone who gets out of debt from someone who starts from scratch every year. Step 3. The snowball effect, only in your favor. This is where most people get stuck. They pay off their debt, then breathe a sigh of relief, slow down, and spend the freed-up money again. A fatal mistake. When you pay off your first debt, don't celebrate by buying something. Celebrate by redirecting that entire payment, untouched, to the next debt on the list. In numbers, let's say you're paying 55,000 rubles in minimum payments per month between your card, education loan, and car loan. You decide to pay off the card with an additional 25,000 rubles per month. That brings your total debt to 80,000 rubles. You'll pay off the card in 15 months. Now comes the critical point. The minimum card payment plus the additional amount doesn't stay in your pocket. It's added to your student loan payment. Now significantly more money is going there. See what's happening? The total monthly debt payment doesn't decrease, it stays the same. But progress accelerates dramatically. You pay off your student loan in 2.5 years instead of the original 10. And the entire amount is added to your car loan. And the debt that seemed forever disappears in less than a year. The point isn't to have your monthly payment drop after you close something. The point is to maintain the same flow, but direct it toward the next goal. This discipline, this small decision, which is difficult every time, is truly worth hundreds of thousands in your future. Day 0. That day when you send your last payment to the bank. You sit and stare at the screen. The balance is 0. And for the first time in years, you owe no one anything. And this is where 95% of people ruin their financial future. I'll explain, because I've seen it time and time again. After years of paying off large sums of money, suddenly you have that money left over, and the temptation is almost impossible to resist. You buy a nicer car, move into a bigger apartment, go out more, travel more, eat better. And 6 months later, the money you earned so hard is lost in what economists call lifestyle inflation, a silent expansion of your own needs. And this is what separates Maxim, Dmitry, and Artyom. Maxim gets out of debt and immediately returns to his previous spending patterns. The car is more expensive, the rent is more expensive, the expenses are higher. At 60, he still earns the same, still rents, and still has no real capital. Dmitry is getting out of debt and promising himself to invest. Sometimes it works, when he has spare cash, when he remembers. Ultimately, he saves up some money, but nothing that really changes his life. Artyom gets out of debt, and on day 0, before spending a single extra ruble, he opens a brokerage account and sets up an automatic monthly transfer of the same amount he'd previously spent on debt into an index fund tracking the broad stock market. Same amount, same date, every month, no hesitation. Step 5. Compound interest math now working for you. Artyom begins investing the remaining funds monthly in an index fund. Historically, such funds have generated average returns of 8 to 10% per annum over long periods. Let's take a conservative estimate, 8%. In 10 years, Artyom will have accumulated a sum many times greater than his investment. In 20 years, he'll have accumulated a capital that can hardly be called modest. In 30 years, he'll have accumulated a capital approaching 7 figures in the currency of settlement, of which he's contributed only about a quarter. The rest is the result of compound interest. The same money that was spent on credit cards for years is now working for freedom. Maxim, having returned to his previous spending habits, has modest corporate savings by retirement age, enough to keep him from living in poverty, but not enough to retire on his own terms. Dmitry, who invested occasionally, will accumulate significantly more than Maxim, but approximately half as much as Artyom, with the same salary, the same circumstances, and the same starting point. The difference between Artyom and Maxim after 30 years isn't a couple of thousand. It's a huge sum measured in 7 figures. And it wasn't salary, luck, or inheritance that decided it all. It was the direction of the flow. Result 1. Make an honest and accurate inventory of all debts. Know exactly what you're dealing with. 2. Create a minimum cushion so you don't break the bank at the first unexpected expense. 3. Attack debts one by one, redirecting each freed payment to the next target without reducing the overall flow. 4. On day 0, don't change your lifestyle. First, automate your investments, and then spend the extra money. 5. Give compound interest enough time to do its job. Here's a phrase worth taking with you. The difference between a debtor and an investor isn't how much they earn, but where their money flows. You already have discipline. You already have a routine. You already have the skill of sending money somewhere every month. There's only one decision left to make: turn the river in the other direction. Paying off debt provides stability, but investing the money previously spent on debt is what gives freedom. If this video has provided any clarity, subscribe. Something useful is published here every day. And before you go, let me know in the comments, what stage are you at now? Are you still at step 0, just planning to get started? Are you snowballing or avalanching your debts? Or have you already reached day 0 and are you investing? I read all the comments and respond personally. My name is Igor. See you in the next video.